The princes who forgot hunger had a cure. They had stopped asking for food. At first, no one noticed. In a palace where excess was the norm, silence was easy to overlook. Plates came and went. Trays were carried in and out. Servants bowed, doors opened, fires burned, and the routines of royalty continued as they always had. But the princes did not eat. At first, the attendants thought it was defiance. Young dragons were known for their tempers, for their pride. Refusing meals could be a statement, a quiet rebellion against rules, tutors, expectations. A prince might skip a meal simply to prove he could. Leave them, one attendant had said lightly. They will eat when they are hungry. They always did. They always had. Until they didn't. The second day, the trays returned untouched. The third day, the cooks were questioned. Were the ingredients fresh? Oh yes. Prepared properly? Oh yes. Presented correctly? Oh yes. Everything had been flawless. Everything had been perfect. And still, nothing was eaten. By the fifth day, concern replaced irritation. By the seventh, concern became fear. Because dragons did not ignore hunger. They could endure it, they could withstand it, but they did not forget it. And that was what this felt like. Forgetting. They are not refusing, a healer murmured after examining the younger prince. They are not responding. The prince's chambers, once warm and vibrant, had grown quiet. Too quiet. The laughter that once echoed through the halls had faded into memory. The crackle of playful flames, once a constant companion to their presence, had dimmed to faint flickers. It was as if something had been extinguished. Not completely, but enough. Vale, the elder prince, sat by the great arched window overlooking the kingdom. He had not moved for hours. Perhaps longer. The sunlight spilled across his scales, but where it once gleamed it now dulled, as though the light itself could not find purchase on him. Gold, once radiant, now resembled tarnished metal. Faded. Tired. His wings hung loosely behind him, the powerful limbs that once carried him soaring above the clouds now too heavy to lift. Even adjusting them seemed like effort. He stared out across the horizon. But his eyes saw nothing. Karen, the younger, lay curled near the hearth. He had always loved the fire. Even as a hatchling, he had been drawn to warmth, pressing close to flames, giggling as sparks danced around him. Where Vale was composed, Karen had been bright, curious, eager, alive. Now, he shivered. The hearth blazed beside him, flames licking high, fed constantly by attendants desperate to warm him. It did not help. His small body trembled despite the heat. His breathing was shallow. His tail curled tightly around himself as if trying to hold something inside that was slipping away. Dragonfire. The living flame within every dragon. It should have burned steady. Strong. Unyielding. But within Karen's, it flickered. Weak. Uncertain. As though it might go out. They are rejecting the food, a court mage whispered, voice strained with unease. They are rejecting everything, another replied. A circle of advisors, healers, and scholars stood at a careful distance from the princes, speaking in hushed tones that did nothing to hide their fear. Something is wrong with their core, the mage continued. The energy pathways are unstable, disrupted. Poison, someone suggested. No sign of it. Curses. No trace. Then what? Silence followed. Because no one had an answer. They will die, a healer said finally, his voice barely audible. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. And when dragon princes die, he didn't need to finish. Everyone knew. The kingdoms follow. The emperor did not speak. He stood apart from them all near the far wall, watching. Always watching. His presence filled the chamber, vast and unyielding like the shadow of a mountain. Power radiated from him even in stillness, an ancient, restrained force that kept every voice low and every movement careful. But today, there was something else in that silence. Something heavier than authority. Helplessness. His gaze rested on his sons. On Vale. On Karen's. And for a moment, the emperor was not a ruler. He was a father. He had seen this before. Not the same, but close enough. Long ago, when their mother died, the memory rose unbidden. A room just like this one, but louder, filled with grief instead of silence. Vale had been younger then, but already trying to be strong, already trying to stand where he thought he must. Karen had been small, too small to understand death. Only absence, only the sudden, terrifying realization that warmth could disappear. They had refused food then too. Not like this. They had cried, resisted, turned away, but they had not emptied. And she had been the one to bring them back. Not with powers, not with command, but with presence. She had sat beside them, holding Karen when he cried, speaking softly to Vale when he tried to hide his pain. She had cooked for them, not as a queen, but as a mother. Simple meals, nothing grand, nothing worthy of a palace. And yet, they had eaten. Because she was there. Because she stayed. Because every bite came with something more than sustenance. Something no kitchen could prepare. And now, she was gone. And whatever she had given them was gone with her. The emperor closed his eyes briefly. Only for a moment. Because kings did not grieve where others could see. But fathers, they did not have that luxury. Days passed. Then weeks. The palace did not slow. It could not. A kingdom did not pause for grief. But beneath the surface, everything strained. The kitchens doubled their efforts. Then tripled. Dishes were redesigned, ingredients were replaced, entire menus were rewritten overnight. If rare spices were needed, they were flown in from distant lands. If exotic beasts were required, hunters rode without rest. Magic was employed, ancient recipes unearthed, forgotten techniques revived. Nothing was spared. Nothing was withheld. Golden platters filled the halls. Roasted meats glazed in honey and herbs. Fruits carved into intricate shapes. Soups infused with rare essences said to restore vitality. Every meal. Perfect. Every meal. Worth a fortune. Every meal. Untouched. The servants began to move more quietly. Not by orders. By instinct. Because something was wrong. Deeply. Irreversibly. Wrong. The princes grew thinner. It was subtle at first. Dragons did not waste away like humans. Their bodies held power. Endured. Resisted. But even dragons had limits. Vale's shoulders lost their strength. His posture sagged ever so slightly, as if the invisible weight he carried had become too heavy. His eyes dulled further. The sharp intelligence in them fading into something distant. Karen stopped speaking. That frightened them the most. The younger prince had always been the louder of the two. Quick to laugh, quicker to complain, always asking questions no one had the patience to answer. No, he said nothing. When spoken to, he did not respond. When touched, he barely reacted. When food was placed before him, he did not even look at it. It was as if hunger itself no longer existed. Hope began to die with them. Slowly, quietly, just as they were. And then, on a morning like any others, everything changed. The human arrived. He did not belong there. That much was obvious from the moment he stepped into view. The palace gates were not meant for men like him. Not for worn boots. Not for clothes faded by time and labor. Not for hands calloused from work that had nothing to do with silk or gold. He stood at the entrance like someone who had taken a wrong turn. Like he expected to be turned away. Like he had already prepared himself for refusal. Beside him stood a small child, clinging tightly to his sleeve. Wide-eyed, silent. The guards looked at them and laughed. This is the Imperial Palace, one said, amusement clear in his voice. I know, the man replied. He did not flinch, did not bow, did not posture. He simply stood. You need cooks. The guards exchanged glances, then laughed again. Louder this time. We have the finest chefs in the Empire. That may be, the man said calmly. Then why are your princes starving? The laughter stopped. Silence fell between them. Heavy, sudden, unwelcome. The guards shifted. Because that was not a question anyone wanted to answer. Not out loud. Not where others might hear. Word had spread. Despite their efforts. Despite the secrecy. Despite the fear. Everyone knew. No one could fix it. Not the royal chefs. Not the healers. Not the mages. No one's. Who are you? One guard asked, his tone no longer mocking. The man glanced down at the child beside him. The small hand gripping his sleeve. The quiet trust in those eyes. A father, he said. A pause. Then, that's enough. There was no arrogance in the words. No challenge. No demand. Just certainty. And somehow, that was more unsettling than anything else. The guards hesitated. Then one turned and went inside. Because when hope is gone, even the impossible is allowed through the gates. And somewhere deep within the palace, a father who had nothing left to offer his sons gave a single order. Let him try. The meal that should not have worked. The kitchen fell silent as he worked. It was not a silence born of awe. Not the kind reserved for master chefs who dazzled with speed and spectacle. Knives flashing, flames roaring, ingredients dancing through the air like pieces of art. No, this silence was different. Uncertain, unsettled, because what the human was doing was not impressive. No rare spices. No glowing herbs harvested under eclipsed moons. No cuts of meat from beasts that required entire hunting parties to bring down. No magic. Just cooking. He stood at a plain section of the vast royal kitchen, far from the polished marble counters and enchanted stoves reserved for the palace's finest chefs. He had chosen his place carefully. Not in the center. Not where eyes would gather. But where he could work without interruption. Without expectation. A worn knife. A wooden board. A single pot. That was all he asked for. The head chef watched him with thinly veiled irritation. This kitchen was his domain. Every flame, every ingredient, every movement within these walls existed under his command. And now, this man, this nobody, stood within it, ignoring its grandeur, reducing it. What do you need? The head chef had asked earlier, sharp and formal. The human had looked around once. Just once. At the shelves filled with rare ingredients. At the enchanted utensils humming with contained magic. At the cooks waiting, poised, ready to demonstrate mastery refined over decades. Then he had shaken his head. Something simple. The words had lingered. Unwelcome. And now, he proved them. He began with vegetables. Plain, common, the kind used for servant meals, not royal feasts. He washed them himself. Not with enchanted water. Not with a gesture. But with his own hands. Slowly, carefully. Then he chopped them. Not fast. Not for display. Each cut deliberate. Measured. Even. The rhythm was steady. Unhurried. The other cooks watched. At first with disdain. Then with confusion. He did not rush. Did not perform. Did not try to prove anything. He simply worked. The pot was placed over a modest flame. No magical enhancements. No control runes. Just fire. He added waters. Then ingredients. One by ones. And then he waited. The head chef frowned. Turn up the heat, he snapped. You'll be here all day. The human did not look up. It needs time. Time. In a royal kitchen. Where efficiency was honed to perfection. Where dishes were crafted in moments, balanced between art and precision. Time was something they had learned to control. To bend. To master. And yet, the human let it pass. The broth began to warm. Not boil. Not surge. Just a warm. Steam rose slowly. Softly. The human stirred. Occasionally. Not constantly. Not obsessively. He tasted. Adjusted. Added a pinch of salt. A handful of herbs. Nothing exotic. Nothing rare. And still, something changed. At first no one noticed. The kitchen was vast. Busy. Alive with motions. But gradually, a scent began to spread. Faint. Subtle. Easy to miss. Until it was. A servant paused mid-step. Nose twitching. What is that smell, she whispered. No one answered. Because they were already noticing it too. It wasn't strong. Didn't demand attention. Didn't overwhelm. It invited. A warmth that wasn't heat. A softness that wasn't flavor. Something deeper. The head chef inhaled sharply, frowning. It's nothing special, he muttered. But his voice lacked certainty. Because it wasn't nothing. It was gentle, soft, comforting, the kind of scent that didn't belong in palaces. It didn't speak of wealth, or rarities, or skill. It spoke of something else. Of kitchens where meals were not performances. Of evenings where food was shared, not presented. Of quiet moments. Of tired hands. Of care given without expectation. It was the kind of scent that lingered in memories. And that was what unsettled them. Because dragons remembered. Deeply. And something about this touched that memory. One of the younger cooks swallowed. I haven't smelled something like that since. He trailed off. Since home. He didn't say it. But everyone heard it. The human continued. Unaffected. Unhurried. He did not notice the silence. Or perhaps he did. And ignored it. Because he was not cooking for them. He was cooking for someone else. For two children who had forgotten what hunger felt like. For two children who had stopped believing food could help. For two children who no longer trusted the world to give them anything they needed. And so, he did not rush. Because this was not about feeding their bodies. This was about reaching something deeper. Something that could not be forced. The broth thickened. The scent deepened. Not stronger. Just fuller. Layered. The human tasted again. Closed his eyes briefly. Adjusted. Satisfied. When it was done, he did not call for servants. Did not request plating. Did not allow the head chef to interfere. He took two simple bowls. Plain. Unadorned. And poured. The liquid shimmered faintly in the light. Not with magic. But with warmth. Steam curled upward. Soft. Inviting. Real. He lifted the bowls carefully. Balanced. Steady. I'll serve them myself, he said. The guard stepped forward immediately. That's not allowed. It is. The voice cut through the room like a blade. Everything froze. The Emperor stood in the doorway. No one had seen him arrive. And yet, there he was. Watching. Not the cooks. Not the kitchen. The humans. There was something in his gaze. Not hope. Not yet. But something close. Something desperate enough to allow the impossible. Let him. No one argued. No one dared. The guards stepped aside. And the human walked past them. Not quickly. Not slowly. Just steadily. As if he had walked this path 100 times before. Even though he had never been here. The prince's chamber was cold. Too cold. Even for dying dragons. The hearth burned. Fierce. Relentless. Servants fed it constantly. Adding wood. Fuel. Anything to keep the flames alive. But the warmth did not spread. It stayed contained. Trapped. As if the room itself refused to accept it. Vale sat where he always sat. By the window. Unmoving. The world outside remained vast. Bright. Alive. But he did not see it. Karen lay near the fires. Curled tightly. His breathing shallow. His small body trembling despite the heat. They had learned. Food did not help. Food did nothing. It came. It went. And nothing changed. So they stopped caring. The door opened. Neither of them reacted. Footsteps. Soft. Measured. Unfamiliar. Still, they did not look. The human entered quietly. His child stayed close. Small hand gripping his sleeve. Wide eyes taking in the room. The princes. The silence. There was fear there. Of course there was. But also something else. Trust. Because the child did not let go. The human walked forward. He did not head for Vale. He went to Karen's. Because the younger always broke first. He knelt slowly beside him. Careful, not to startle. Hey, he said softly. No responses. Karen did not move. Did not look. Did not acknowledge him at all. The human did not push. Did not repeat himself. He simply set the bowl down. Close enough for the steam to drift. Warm. Inviting. Real. Just a little, he murmured. You don't have to finish it. No demand. No pressure. No expectation. Just an offer. Silence lingered. Then, Karen's nose twitched. Barely. A reflex. Something instinctive. His body reacted before his mind did. The scent reached him. Slipped past the emptiness. Past the indifference. Into something buried. Something old. Something remembered. A kitchen. Warm hands. Soft laughter. A voice that said his name like it mattered. Slowly, his eyes opened. Not fully. Just enough. The world blurred. Then sharpened. And found. The bowl. Across the room. Vale moved. It was small. Almost nothing. But it was the first movement in days. His head turned. His gaze. Slow. Heavy. Fixed on the source of the scent. Then, on the humans. Suspicion. Weakness. And something fragile. Something he did not recognize. Why? His voice cracked. Dry. Thin. Does it smell like that? The human met his gaze. And smiled. Not proudly. Not triumphantly. Just gently. Because it's made for you. Karen pushed himself up. His arms trembled. His body resisted. But he forced it. Because something inside him had woken. He stared at the bowl. As if it might disappear. As if this feeling would vanish if he hesitated too long. Slowly, with shaking hands, he took a bite. The room held its breath. Time stretched. A moment that felt like eternity. Nothing happened. Then, Karen froze. His eyes widened. And suddenly, he started crying. Not softly. Not quietly. But with the raw, broken sobs of someone who had forgotten what comfort felt like. It's warm, he choked. It's warm. Not the food. The feeling. The warmth that spread through him. Not just in his body. But in his chest. In the place that had been empty. Cold. Hollow. Something filled it. Something he thought he had lost. The human did not speak. He did not interrupt. He did not explain. He simply rested a hand gently on the child's head. It's okay, he said softly. Ate slowly. Karen clutched the bowl. As if it were the only real thing left in the world. And he ate. Carefully. Desperately. Tears falling into the broths. Unnoticed. Vale watched. And his chest tightened. Because he recognized that look. That sound. That feeling. And something inside him. Stirred. Hope. Terrifying. Fragile. Dangerous. Because hope could break you. Hope could take everything. And leave nothing behind. He had learned that. But still, he reached. Slowly. For his bowl. His hand trembled. Not from weakness. From fear. And then, he tasted it. Fire exploded in his chest. Not pains. Not magic. Life. It surged through him. A warmth so sudden, so overwhelming, that he gasped. His core, silent for weeks, ignited. Not violently. Not uncontrollably. But steadily. Strong. Alive. The dull gray of his scales flickered. Cracked. And beneath, gold returned. Faint at first. Then brighter. Breathing. What is this, he whispered. Because this was not just food. This was something else. Something he had not felt. Since the human met his gaze. Food, he said simply. Then, after a pause, and care, outside the chamber, the emperor stood, waiting, not moving, not breathing, and then, he felt it, a flicker, faint, but unmistakable, the bond, the ancient unbreakable connection between dragon and blood. Week for weeks, fatting, dying, burned again. The emperor's legs gave out. He fell to his knees. Not in weakness, But in relief, raw, overwhelming, because his sons were still there, and inside, two starving dragon princes finally began to eat. The flame that returned. They did not stop. Not that day. Not the next. Not even when the palace, trembling on the edge of despair for weeks, began to hold its breath again, afraid that hope once awakened might vanish just as quickly. Because hope had betrayed them before. Hope had promised recovery, promised healing, promised that time would be enough. It had not been. And so when the princes ate, no one celebrated. Not yet. The first meal was watched in silence. The second in disbelief. The third in something dangerously close to relief. Because this time, they kept eating. Slowly, carefully, as if relearning something they had once known by instinct, but now had to rebuild piece by fragile piece. Karen ate first. Always. Small hands gripping the bowl, eyes still wide as though afraid it might disappear if he looked away. Every bite was deliberate, measured, but beneath that, there was urgency. Not hunger, not exactly. Something deeper. A need. The kind that came from emptiness that had lasted too long. The kind that didn't trust fulfillment. And so he ate like someone trying to hold on to something slipping through his fingers. Vale was different. He did not rush. He observed. Even now weak, recovering, his strength only beginning to return, his mind remained sharp. Watchful, careful. He studied the food, the humans, the effect. Because this should not have worked. Nothing had worked. Not the finest chefs. Not the rarest ingredients. Not even magic. And yet, this simple meal had ignited something that all of them had failed to reach. That was not coincidence. That was something else. Something he needed to understand. So he ate. Slowly. Testing. And with every bite, the warmth returned. Not overwhelming. Not explosive. Steady. Like a flame being rebuilt from embers. The changes did not come all at once. They were subtle. At first, Karen stopped shivering. It wasn't immediate. The trembling lingered, faint and stubborn, as if his body did not quite believe the warmth would stay. But gradually, it faded. His breathing deepened. His shoulders relaxed. His small frame, once curled tightly in on itself, began slowly to open. He still stayed near the fire, but no longer out of desperation. Out of comfort. Vale stood. Not fully. Not strongly. But he stood. For the first time in weeks. It lasted only moments. A few unsteady seconds. Then he sat again. But it was enough. Enough to send whispers racing through the palace. They are recovering. They stood. They ate. They are alive. Hope spread carefully. Quietly. Because no one dared speak too loudly. Not yet. Not until they were certain. Not until this, whatever it was, could not be taken away. The human returned the next morning. He did not ask for permission. He did not wait for summons. He simply walked into the kitchen. As if he belonged there. As if he had always been there. The guards did not stop him. They watched. Curious. Respectful. Because something had changed. Not just in the princes, but in the palace itself. The kitchen was already waiting. The head chef stood at the center, arms folded, expression tight. He had not slept. Not properly. Because everything he knew, everything he had trained for, everything he had mastered, had been challenged. Not by a rivals, not by a master of greater skill, but by simplicity. And he did not understand it. You'll use the same ingredients, he asked, unable to keep the edge from his voice. The human glanced at him, then nodded. They don't need variety yet. The head chef frowned. They are princes, their meals must. They need to eat, the human interrupted gently. The words were not harsh, but they carried weight. Because they were true. And truth was difficult to argue against. The human began again. The same way. The same pace. The same quiet focus. And again, the kitchen changed. Not dramatically. Not visibly. But undeniably. The tension eased. The noise softened. Even the flames seemed to burn more steadily. And once more, that scent returned. Warm, familiar, comforting. This time, the staff did not question it. They did not dismiss it. They simply accepted it because they had seen what it could do. When the meal was ready, the human carried it himself. Again, no one stopped him. The princes were waiting, not sitting idly, not withdrawn, waiting. Karen sat near the center of the room now, no longer pressed tightly against the hearth. Vale stood by the window. But this time, he turned before the door opened. Anticipation. Faint. But present. The human entered. And Karen smiled. Small. But real. You came back, he said. His voice was still soft. Still fragile. But it was there. And that alone sent a ripple through the room. I said I would, the human replied. As if that were enough. As if promises were meant to be kept. Karen reached for the bowl immediately. This time, there was no hesitation. No fear. Just trust. Vale approached more slowly. His gaze met the human's. And for a moment, they simply looked at each other. Understanding passing between them. Unspoken. You knew, Vale said quietly. The human tilted his head slightly. Knew what? That this would work. The human shook his head. No. Vale frowned. But you tried anyway. A pause. Then, yes. Vale studied him. Because that was something he did not understand. To act without certainty. To try without guarantee. To believe without proof. It was illogical. And yet, it had worked. Why, Vale asked. The human looked toward Karen's. Watching the younger prince eat with quiet focus, the tension in his small frame easing with every bite. Then he glanced at his own child. Standing nearby. Watching. Learning. Because sometimes, the human said softly, it's not about knowing. It's about caring enough to try. Vale did not respond. Because that answer was not something he could measure. But he could feel it. And that was enough. Days passed. Then more. And the palace changed. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. But steadily. Like a wound healing from within. The princes regained strength. Not fully. Not yet. But enough. Enough to walk. Enough to speak. Enough to laugh. Karen's laughter returned first. Soft at first. Uncertain. As if testing whether it still belonged to him. But once it came, it stayed. And it spread. Because laughter was difficult to contain. Vale remained quieter. But his silence was no longer empty. It was thoughtful. Present. Alive. His scales regained their luster. Gold shining once more beneath the light. His wings stretched again. Tentative. But strong. And his fire burned. Not as before. But differently. Steadier. Deeper. Because it was no longer fueled by duty alone. But by something else. Something he was only beginning to understand. The human remained. Not as a guest. Not yet as anything defined. But he stayed. Because the princes needed him. And he knew it. His child stayed too. And slowly, without announcement, without ceremony, the two children became inseparable. Karen followed the humans. Everywhere. Clinging to his sleeve. As if afraid that if he let go, the warmth would vanish. And the human's child followed him right back. Small footsteps echoing through the halls. Laughter trailing behind them. They played. Simple games. Nothing grand. Nothing royal. And for the first time, the palace saw something it had long forgotten. Normal. One evenings, Vale found the human alone in the kitchen. The fires burned low. The staff had long since retired. Only the quiet crackle of flame remained. The human stood at the counter, preparing the next day's meal. Unhurried. As always. You are not afraid of us, Vale said. It was not a question. The human did not look up. Should I be? Vale stepped closer. We are dragons. A pause. We burn kingdoms. The human nodded. And you were also children who forgot how to eat. Vale stopped. Because that was not how anyone spoke to him. Not as a prince. Not as a dragon. But as a child. And strangely, it did not offend him. It grounded him. Why did your food work? Vale asked. The human set the knife down. Finally looking at him. Because I've seen hunger before. Vale frowned. You mean poverties? The human shook his head. No. His gaze shifted. Toward the doorway. Where Karen and his child slept, curled together near the hearth. I mean the kind where food isn't enough. Vale's breath caught. Because suddenly, everything became clear. The meals, the failure, the emptiness. They had not been starving for food. They had been starving for something else. Something no chef, no matter how skilled, could create. Kids don't just need to eat, the human continued softly. They need to feel safe while doing it. Vale closed his eyes briefly. And for the first time, he understood. All the perfect meals. All the flawless presentations. All the efforts. They had lacked one thing. The one thing their mother had always given. Presence. care, love. You fed our fire, Vale said quietly. The human smiled faintly. You already had fires. He stepped closer and gently tapped Vale's chest. It just needed a reason to burn. That night, the Emperor summoned the court. The great hall filled. Nobles, generals, advisors, all gathered, all watching, because something had changed. And they all felt it. The Emperor stood before them. Silent, powerful, and then he did something no one expected. He stepped down from the throne and bowed to the humans. The room erupted. Gasps, shock, disbelief. But the Emperor did not move. You saved my sons, he said. His voice steady, but filled with something deeper. You gave them back their lives. Silence fell. Heavy. Absolute. Name your reward. The human looked at his child. Then at the princes. Standing beside him. Alive. Whole. He shook his head. They're already eating, he said softly. That's enough. No one spoke. Because no one understood how that could be enough. But Karen did. He ran forward, grabbing the human's hand. No, he said fiercely. You stay. The Emperor looked at his sons, at the light in their eyes, at the life that had returned. And he nodded. Then stay, he said. He placed a hand over his heart. Not as a servant. As family. And for the first time, since the Queen's death, the palace felt like a home again. Because sometimes, even dragons, do not need powers, or magic, or gold. Sometimes, they just need someone who remembers how to care.